guys, welcome back to The Horror with your hostess with the most, Jennabelle, as always. So we are continuing our franchise review of Friday the 13th. We are going to be talking about Friday the 13th Part Deuce. So this one came out in 1981. This one was not directed by Sean S. Cunningham like the first one was. This one was taken over by Steve Miner, who's done quite a few other horror movies as well. So this is definitely one that I enjoy quite a bit. It's probably one of my favorite sequels of the franchise. Not quite maybe my first favorite sequel of the franchise, but it is up there. I definitely enjoy it a lot. So this one stars Adrienne King for a brief moment in the movie. Amy Steele as well, who's going to be our next final victim girl. So this movie starts off with Adrienne King's character Alice in her apartment about 2 months after the events of the first film. She is trying to kind of get, sort everything out, just kind of, get over everything, put her life back together and everything. And then pretty quickly, she is killed off, presumably by Jason. I say presumably because obviously it's set up to indicate that it is Jason, because Alice opens up the refrigerator to see the decapitated head of Mrs. Voorhees, and then next thing is someone from behind pretty much impales her right in the temple. I know there's some debates on this kill, on if it was actually Jason who killed Adrienne, because, you kind of wonder, how did Jason get to her apartment, find Alice and everything? Who knows? Maybe it really wasn't Jason. Maybe it was just some weird psycho who broke into her apartment. I don't know. But I mean, obviously, you have to say it is Jason. It's pretty obvious it's Jason who killed her. So then the movie jumps forward 5 years down the line after the events of what had just happened to the counselor training camp site run by Paul. This is where we are introduced to Ginny, played by Amy Steele. I mean, Amy Steele, for me, she's definitely one of my favorite final girls in this series. I think she really holds her own. She's kind of a powerhouse and everything. It's really good to see, to go from Alice, who, is a beloved final girl, very strong and everything, to Adrienne King's character, Ginny. Like I said, I feel like, she's equally as strong and everything. Definitely thinks a little bit more about Jason as a whole, kind of is questioning if maybe Jason's still alive and everything. And I have to say that, especially growing up watching these films and everything, being a fan of horror movies in general, I definitely feel her character, you could almost kind of say, is one of the first sort of role models for a horror fan, because she's one of the first people we kind of see who, even though she's a character in a movie talking about a fictional character, she really was one of our first examples of people like us who are really sort of always watching these movies, always dissecting these movies. I mean, you guys know, especially those of you who have been watching me for a little bit, there are so many movies where I kind of just so think about a lot. Perfect example, Sleepaway Camp. You kind of saw my first, the Friday the 13th Part 1 I just did, about just really kind of going into the whole movie and everything. So a lot of us do that. So that she really, to me, is really kind of just a good example of a reflection of us with a lot of these movies. So, but yeah, I like that, Amy Steele's character, Ginny, I like her character so much that, she is very smart. She, you could tell she's a thinker. She's, really kind of thinks about things and everything. We can tell that she's kind of she's going in for like psychology and everything. She's going to school for psychology. Seems like more of like child psychology. That's another thing that I like about her, is like little things like that about her character. For example, like one line that she says to Paul after he's trying to like see what's wrong with her car, she makes a comment of like, oh, I'd like to use that child psychology on you. little things like that I really like that they didn't kind of let go to waste. I feel like that definitely goes into play with like the end of the movie, especially with her final or one of her final confrontations with Jason, where she goes into the little man-made shack and everything that Jason has made for himself to live in. Sees the decapitated head once again of Mrs. Voorhees, very much more decayed than when we first saw the head at the beginning of the movie. Rightfully so, because like I said, 5 years have passed. It's gonna look a little decayed. Just try to play mind game, try to overcome, Jason with her brains and everything, trying to outsmart him and everything. Things like that I really enjoy. Going back to the shack, I feel like this is definitely one of the first times, obviously, really one of the only times other than the remake where you really kind of see Jason as, very much a human, a human being, not like what the sequels have turned him out to be, kind of be a little more of a supernatural or kind of like a zombie-esque type of killer. We see he's human and he's trying to be resourceful. He's lived in the woods. He's kind of a survivalist. He's made himself a little shack and everything. And the kicker about this that always kind of gets me, that I always kind of cracks me up, I get a chuckle out of it, is Jason's got a toilet. Like, where did he get a freaking toilet at? That's what I want to know. Because I don't really see him going to Home Depot or Lowe's Home Improvement to purchase toilets, and I don't know if he's really going out and trying to just take someone's old toilet that's sitting out on the curb to be tossed. I'm just saying, but kudos to him for wanting to take a dump on a toilet and not like at a base of the tree. So I'm just saying, the look of Jason in this movie is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite look of Jason. And I know this is only the second movie, our first introduction to really Jason as the main antagonist and everything. But, he looks, like I said, he looks human. I like that he looks human. Obviously, they kept to having some deformities to his face, of maybe having along the lines of him having maybe Down syndrome or something. And I just like that they kind of kept the consistency of that. Obviously, that doesn't really look much like the younger version of Jason from the first one, but it's still very realistic and everything. I know it's not supposed to be realistic, but whatever. In the bag, this is the only movie, I shouldn't say the only movie, but one of the only movies where he doesn't use the hockey mask. Obviously, it was not introduced yet, but it has the sack, and he has the sack and everything. And it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much like the same sack and everything, same way that they had it on his head as the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown, both the original and the remake. I don't know if that was necessarily inspired by it. I think they decided it was just kind of readily available and everything for this. They just needed something simple to have on his head for the majority of the movie. So, but it was good. It was, I like the look and everything. I really do. Just kind of, like I said, I know this is before all the sequels. So at the time of its release, it was kind of cool to see that. I'm just saying, and no disrespect to the hockey mask. I love the hockey mask. So I'm just saying. The cast, though, once again, going kind of back to the cast, this has a really good cast, a pretty likable cast, although you could tell with the sequel, it's starting to kind of be a little watered down. Not all the characters are really getting much development, kind of understandably, especially with a lot of these slashers and franchises. They don't concentrate too much on all the characters, giving a lot of character development. But I feel like they do give each character at least some development, a little bit of character and everything. So it still works. I feel like you don't need to have a backstory to every single character in a movie. But it's still good. It is still, the cast is still, good. Once again, there's really not Um, really any character that I'm fully like, ugh, like annoys me or anything. I'm pretty okay with all of them. And we have Crazy Ralph. Crazy Ralph is back in this one. His last appearance in as an actual character, besides like flashbacks and later installments. But this is one that he is in again. Is not in it all the way. He is pretty much killed off within like the first quarter of the movie, I believe, maybe third of the movie. His death is pretty decent. I wish they would have given him a little bit more. I guess maybe that's just a thing that I have, just because he has become such a beloved character with this franchise and everything. Even though at the time we didn't really realize what this franchise would become, or any of the sort of franchises from back in the day, how beloved they would become, and these characters would be so beloved and everything. But you know what? He's still got a good, decent little death and everything. I feel like almost in a way, this one compared to the first one, I feel like Crazy Ralph, like he's still a little crazy, but I almost feel like now he's a little bit like, ooh, like kind of almost like watching over the camp, watching over these kids just to see if they're okay, see if they're in like any danger or anything. First one, I feel like he was just like straight up crazy. But whatever. It would be interesting too, kind of looking back at that though, with that thinking of him kind of watching over these kids, because I know, and I'll get to this when later on down the road when I get to the sequel, but I know at one point they were kind of thinking of revealing who Jason's father was. It would have been kind of interesting, and I know this would not even work out because, or maybe it could, I don't know. This could be a separate video altogether, but almost like, Crazy Ralph being Jason's father almost. Maybe just because, he's kind of seeing like what the hell Jason's doing. I don't know. Or maybe he realizes that Jason's alive. Like I said, weird kind of crazy thing. Probably a subject that is whole video unto its own. I don't know. But anyway, enough of that. But yeah, this is like I was saying, it's one of those sequels that is, I feel like, just very well done. I feel like second installment of any franchise is pretty hit or miss. Sometimes people kind of get it right. Other times it's a little or at least fans kind of don't really take to the second one, which is all right. But yeah. And it's got some some decent kills. I know one of the kills that is talked about quite a bit because it is almost identical to another death scene from another movie. One on which I have not seen yet. It's one I want to actually check out. I've known about this movie for a number of years. And that is the bed scene with the two kids, with the arrow going through them both, impaling both of them. I know that scene is pretty, like I said, pretty identical to the scene in Twitch of the Death Nerve, which is an Italian horror movie, I believe, or an Italian movie. Literally, and I've seen the little scene of that and stuff. Literally, the only difference between Twitch and Friday Part 2 is that in Twitch of the Death Nerve, the two bodies continue to keep moving and making love. Because you know what? Nothing's going to stop you from jizzing. I'm just saying. But no, I mean, and I know that they say they weren't aware of that movie or that scene when they were making that film. Maybe they did. Maybe they're just trying to cover their butts and not have to worry about, copyright infringement or whatever. But I still like it. Whatever. So, another death that I know is a little, debated, I know kind of ruffled a couple of feathers, so to speak, was the wheelchair death with that young gentleman in the red jersey. I know some people were kind of like, oh my god, he's in a wheelchair. Oh, that's so insensitive. We had Texas Chainsaw Massacre years before this, with a wheelchair death, and that was much more gruesome. And honestly, that kill in Texas Chainsaw, I was so glad when that guy got killed because he was annoying. I'm just saying. But no, it's, I know that one was like a little, like, some people were like, oh, it's a movie. Chillax. Oh my god. But yeah, and then we have the ending and everything, which I really like, because you kind of, we see Jenny being taken off by the ambulance and everything. Previous to that, though, we saw her and Paul and Muffin in the little room, and then Jason comes through the window for one final jump scare, and then, we just see Ginny, and we're like, where the hell's Paul? Where the hell's Jason? Like, and that's one of those things where it's like, you never know. We've never known what the hell happened to Paul. None of, even with, like, Jason, we have no idea really what happened to Jason. I mean, obviously he comes back, but when he comes back, literally the next day for part 3, which I'll be talking about soon, literally, he's totally changed. I don't even think that's the same Jason. I'm just saying. I think him and Paul are, like, gay best friends, or maybe lovers. I don't know. I'm not discriminating. I don't know. They'd make a cute couple, I think. They would. I'm just saying. It's like, what happens? What happened? And Muffin. What the hell happened to Muffin? Everyone's concerned about Paul. What the hell happened to Muffin? That's what I want to know. We need answers, people. We need answers. So we had some unanswered questions and everything that we never had answers to. But yeah, this movie, like I was saying, I enjoy it for a sequel. I oftentimes if I watch the first one, usually I'm going to be watching the second one either same day or maybe a day after, just because it is a good follow-up. So, but those are my thoughts on Friday 13th Part 2. Let me know, what do you guys think of Part 2? Who do you prefer so far between our two final girls? Do you prefer Alice from Part 1, or do you prefer Ginny from Part 2? So let me know, what were some of your favorite moments of Part 2? Let me know in the comments, guys. As always, I don't know how many times I can tell you guys to let me know. You guys know the routine. Till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.